So let's start warming up. Stand with the feet about hip width apart, bend your elbows, and just press through your chest, extending the arms out in front of your shoulder. Keep the hands flexed. Keep your abs in tight. Just think of pressing and then extending back with the arms behind you. You go ahead and take those arms overhead, still extending and pressing, and then pulling down the back as your arms bend by your sides. Take those arms out in front of your shoulders and just make little circles with your arms. In reverse direction. Great job. Now we're ready to get started. Go ahead and find your dumbbells and extend both arms overhead with the hands slightly in front of you, palms facing in. Bend the elbows in and down by your sides and then press the weights back up, making sure that your knees are slightly bent, your abs are in tight, your spine stays nice and tall. Now continue that press, but open your elbows out to the sides, going into a wider overhead shoulder press. Pushing at the top and pulling down as the elbows bend. Next, we're going to work your triceps. Hinge forward from the hips, pull your elbows back behind you, extend your arms up towards the ceiling, and as your elbows extend, rotate your palms up towards the sky, really squeezing through the backs of the arms, making sure not to swing the weights as the arms bend and extend. Keep those elbows nice and high behind the body. Try not to let them drop as you continue that kickback. Good, now let's work the biceps. Keeping your palms facing your body, go ahead and curl the weights up towards your body, but make sure they don't touch your shoulders at the top. Elbows stay in close by your sides, palms are facing down, so we're also working through the forearms as well as the biceps. Don't forget about the rest of your body here. Make sure you're keeping a nice tall posture as you go through these movements. We're going to repeat that circuit one more time, going back to our narrow overhead press. Extend the arms overhead, palms facing in, and then pull down and press up. Good, go ahead and go into that wide overhead press, opening your elbows out to the sides as they bend and extend. Moving back into the tricep kickback, make sure you're rotating your palms up as you extend from the elbows, keeping the spine nice and straight, abs in tight. Good, and let's repeat that curl with the palms facing in, elbows in. Make sure that your knees are soft, your feet are together, your abs are in tight, shoulders are down and back as you curl those weights up and down. Great job. Now let's go ahead and set the weights down and lower down to the floor. Coming down onto the hands and the knees, place your hands directly underneath your shoulders, knees underneath your hips. You're going to bend your elbows all the way down to the floor and then press up, extending through the arms. So we're pressing up with the tricep muscles here. Keep the spine nice and long, abs in tight. Just bend the elbows down, tap the floor with your arms, and press back up. Now, if this is too much of a challenge, you can just bend the elbows as low as possible without reaching the floor and then extend your arms back up. If you want to make it harder, you can try walking your knees further away from your elbows to add more resistance to your arms. Let's go ahead and find the dumbbells again and come back up to a standing position. And we're going to bring the weights in by the sides with the feet together and do a forward stepping, alternating 90-degree raise. So step forward with one foot. You're going to raise your opposite arm up in front of your shoulder while the other arm opens out to the side of the shoulder. So the arms are making a 90-degree angle with the palms facing the floor, and you're keeping that forward step going so that the heart rate stays high to help burn more calories during the routine. Make sure that your abs stay tight, your spine stays tall, and that you're not leaning back as your arms come up to 90 degrees. Good. From there, step your feet wide into second position, turning the knees and toes out slightly about 45 degrees, and open your arms out to the sides of your shoulders with your palms facing up. Take a nice deep plie, bending the knees out over the toes, and as you extend the legs, reach your arms overhead with the palms facing in. Bend the knees open, extend the legs, press the arms overhead. Good. Now go ahead and lower the weights and let's come back down to the floor. And we're going to repeat those tricep press-ups. Now this time, if you want to make it a little bit more challenging, walk your hands further away from your legs. Bend the elbows down to the floor and press up. Abs are in tight. If you find this position too tough, feel free to bring your hands back in closer to your legs. Make sure that you're pressing up here with the backs of those arms. Really focus on the triceps. Good, so let's find the weights and come back up for that forward stepping, alternating 90-degree raise. Step forward with one foot, reaching the opposite arm forward, the other arm straight out to the side. Working on a little coordination here while we develop the shoulders. Good, let's repeat the plie overhead press. Step the feet wide, turning the knees and toes slightly out, arms out to the shoulders, extend the legs, press up, and bend and open out to the sides. Make sure that your elbows are only slightly bent during this exercise. We don't want them to bend too much. Great job. Now go ahead and come down to the floor, keeping your weights with you. Bend your knees, sitting up tall through the back, and lift your feet up into boat pose. From there, we're going to do some bicep curls, bringing the weights into the body, keeping the spine straight. And if it's too tough to keep your feet lifted off the floor, feel free to keep them flat on the floor until you're ready to lift them up for more of a challenge. Make sure that you stay lifted out of your lower back here. Your abs are supporting your spine in that V position. Good. From there, let's transition onto the hands and the knees. Take one foot back behind you, lightly tapping the toe on the floor, and open your opposite arm out to the side of your shoulder, palm facing down, going into a rear fly to work the muscles in the upper back and the shoulders. Make sure you're not swinging that weight, you're lifting it and lowering it each time. Now go ahead and lift that back leg, and you're going to sweep your front arm back to the outside of the hip, keeping the arm fully extended, pressing back through the back muscles as well as through the triceps. Your palm should be facing up. Abs are working hard here to help you stabilize the body and keep your balance during this movement. Great job. Now let's go ahead and return back to that biceps boat, lifting the feet, keeping the spine straight, sitting back into that full V-sit, curling the weights up and down. Keep those elbows close to the sides of your body as you perform that curl. Great job. Now let's come back up onto the hands and the knees and repeat that series on the other side. Tap the other foot back behind you, extend the other arm out to the side, going into that rear fly on the other side. Good, now lift that back leg and sweep that arm back and past the hip with the palm facing up, squeezing through the back of the arm and the back side of the torso. Great job. Go ahead and take a little rest here. Sit the hips back into child's pose. So we're going to repeat that set one more time on each side. So go back to your biceps curl boat. And then we're going to come back to that first set with that rear fly, tapping the toe back. Opposite arm goes into that rear fly. Then we lift the leg and go back into that kickback. We'll do that one more time, the biceps curl boat, and take that rear fly and kick back on the other side. Great job. Go ahead and set your weights to the side. And we're gonna move on to a camel stretch. Just open up the chest and the shoulders. So bend the knees about hip width apart, press the hips forward, arch to the back, and see if you can place your hands on your heels. From there, sit back into child's pose and take your hands wider than shoulder width apart. We're gonna go into a power push-up combo. Jump forward into a push-up and then jump off those hands, springing back into child's pose. So you want to shift your weight forward and back each time, bringing the chest right between the thumbs for that push-up. See if you can tap the floor if it's possible. Good, now just take a nice active rest for the chest, coming back to camel pose. Hands on the heels, open and stretch the chest. Return back to child's pose and repeat those power push-ups one last time. Think of exploding forward into the hands and jumping back into child's pose. Keep those abs in tight to help out the chest muscles. Sit back, hold child's pose, just take a nice stretch and relax. Come into a comfortable seated position. Reach one arm across your chest, just give it a hug, dropping the shoulder down. Take that same arm and bend the elbow up into your head, dropping the chin to your chest, stretching through the triceps and the shoulders. And you can lean to the side, opening into a side stretch at the same time. Reverse it, take the other arm across your chest, drop your shoulder. Bend that elbow up into the head, relax your chin to your chest, and lean away from it. Come back to the center, and relax those arms down. Clasp your hands together, press away from your chest, round your chin inwards, stretching across that upper back. And then bring both arms behind you. Inhale, open across the chest and the shoulders. And then finally, just stretch the forearms and the wrists, bring your palms together, and press gently from side to side. Take a nice deep breath in, stretch the arms overhead, and open them out to the sides. Congratulations, you've just completed your toned and jiggle-free arms workout.